stop now. UConn is not the UConn that we saw the last 2 seasons. And I do believe if you watch Dan on the sidelines, that
he knows
that you can see that he kind of knows it.
And
right?
the post game, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was no pomp and circumstance with today. He wasn't working the officials at all. This was a Dan Hurley that I haven't seen in a little while, knowing he was completely outmatched by St. John's and Rick Pitino. Gave him all the credit in the world. Said how great they are defensively. They're switchable is really what he said, makes them so difficult on that end. They've got those long athletic wings, tough wings. But yeah, UConn, they just don't have enough. They don't have enough bullets. And then when Liam McNeely shoots the way he did, and he played hard today. It wasn't like he didn't play hard.
He's going up against RJ Lewis and Kadari Richmond and Simeon Wilcher, who, by the way, was awesome tonight.
He did a great job in DR guarding him too. Yeah. Great job.
And I mean, look, we can rehash this over and over again. UConn is just, they don't have enough pieces. And I do think that there is, if I have one criticism of the way that Dan has coached this year, it would be that his loyalty to his players is the reason why he gets guys to come back. You don't lose solo ball in the portal because he knows that he's going to be loyal to him and he's going to make sure he gets minutes. You don't lose Jalen Stewart after a freshman year where they didn't play all that much because those guys know that Dan is loyal and is going to reward them for staying with the program. So his loyalty is part of the reason why he's able to build that culture and build that continuity. I do think that it might have been a little bit to a fault this year because I think he's been too loyal for too long to Samson Johnson. Terrace Reed is the better option at the 5, and we've seen that in the last couple games. I think he didn't work in Ahmad Noel enough early on to get him ready to be able to be a backup point guard in these situations. I don't think Aiden Mahaney is the guy that he thought he was going to be at the point. No. And look, Alex made a couple of threes here tonight, but there was a long stretches where he was not good enough for the last couple of games.
That's the biggest thing.
I feel for Alex too.
Of course.
It's part of what happened was they moved him. When Liam McNeely got hurt, he kind of started playing a different role where he's the guy that's the second option. He's the guy that is the secondary creator. He's the guy that is being asked to do stuff on his own instead of being the finisher of those actions, the catch and shoot guy in the corner, the guy coming off of the curls to run. He's being asked to be more of a facilitator and a creator. And that's not him. And I think he struggled with it a little bit. And then I think he started realizing that I'm not playing all that well. Oh, no, I'm not playing well. I'm hurting my draft stock. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm hurting my draft stock. Did I just ruin my life coming back to school? Oh, no, I ruined my life coming back to school. I can't make a shot. Oh, no, I can't make a shot. I'm not very good. Like, he just has completely gotten in his head, and it was nice to see him make a couple. And the one saving grace from today, if UConn is going to have any chance to be able to make a run here, they need Alex Garabin to be the guy that he was for that 10-minute stretch in the second half. Confident. So the game kind of turned tonight. I'm sorry to be rambling, but the game kind of turned tonight. UConn gets it to 9. Then there's a steal, and Kadari Richmond gets a bucket at the other end. Then there's a stop, and then there's another bucket from Kadari Richmond. Gets a third. Then Caravan comes down and shoots that like 30-footer off the dribble. Yeah. And it comes down to the other end, and then you get the tip dunk by Ejiofor. It gets it back to 16. Right. Yeah. I actually don't hate that. I love that Alex took that shot because he shot that thing with confidence.
He did.
He shot that like a dude that was like, all right, I'm back. And let's be honest, UConn was not winning that game. The fact they got it to 9 was impressive and to show a little bit of fight and a little bit of mettle they didn't have in the first half. If they played that way, starting at the 10-minute mark of the first half, then maybe they would have had a chance. You're not erasing a 22-point deficit against St. John's in this building. The fact that he shot that means that he's playing with a level of confidence we haven't seen out of him in 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a lot mental for Alex Garabin, but it's also the physical. It's also the fact that, you know what, he's not a guy that ultimately is going to be a number 1 or maybe even a number 2 guy. He was a great number 4 guy on a team that had pros, and his game doesn't really – he's not super athletic. He's not going to beat a lot of people off the bounce. He's not shooting the ball well this year. DR has come down to earth a little bit, whether it's due to the injuries or not. He's come down to earth a little bit, and that again, that changes the complexion of this game because when he could score, he could take some pressure off. Carabin didn't have to play quite as well. Well, now if Carabin's not playing well, DR is not giving you a whole hell of a lot. McNeely today, again, wasn't making shots. What do you have? an
team
NIT team. I mean, honestly, they look. If you told me right now, and you just watched this game today, without everything else that they've done this year, you would say that was an NIT team.
And the problem is, if you look at what they've done this year, that Baylor loss doesn't look as good as it did a while ago. The Gonzaga win doesn't look as good as it did a while ago. At Texas doesn't look as good as it did a while ago. Colorado looks worse than it did.
There's not a lot there.
There at Creighton is the one that looks
Marquette,
like
Creighton.
At Marquette at Creighton is what's probably going to end up saving them. Yeah. But I mean, I think it's clear watching Dan on the sideline. He knows that this team has run its race, and it probably is time for him to start focusing on what can I get next year.
I was going to ask you that.
And who are the guys that we want back? This is who I would say I want Solo back.
Yeah.
I want Jalen Stewart back, and I want Terrace Reed back. Give me those three guys, and then if Alex Caravan comes back out of the portal, great. That's an added bonus.
Doesn't he have to come back?
Caravan?
Yeah.
No, because
what's he going to do?
Probably get the similar deal to what he got last year, which is a two-way, maybe some kind of partially guaranteed thing at the end. But listen, we got to get to a break, unless you got to.
No, I mean, again, I just think this is something where Dan Hurley, I think he thought, and again, you're tired of me saying this, but he kept telling, I have the formula. You know what? You had pros the last couple of years. You better go get pros again. And ultimately, in this day and age, the formula, there is no formula. There is no formula with the portal.
Here's where
you're rolling the dice. You got Aiden Mahaney. You thought you had a guy that was going to be a dude and be a high-level point guard, and he hasn't played.
Here's where I'll push back. I don't think the issue is not having – the formula is build a culture, get guys that are going to be able to stay for a couple years, supplement that by plugging holes out of the portal with what you need, and try to be able to have 5 to 6 core guys returning that you can develop over the years, and then fill in the holes with a Cam Spencer, fill in the holes with some of these big-name transfers. And what happened was the guy that they got out of the portal that was supposed to fill the biggest hole that they had, which was the starting point guard spot, is a guy that can barely get off the bench at this point in the season.
You also need maybe some more talent coming out of Bristol, Connecticut. That would help too.
Look,